Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Marion, and in this tutorial, as you can see, my model is rocking this beautiful dress that I made, and I would like to take you through the nitty-gritties of how I went about everything. You can see the ruffle at the bottom, you can see the scalloped edge on the sides of the dress, and how I just went about everything. So stick around. You need to get your waist measurements, your bust measurements, the hips, and the length of the dress. Once you have that, let's get grooving. So thank you so much for being here. As I said, my name is Marion. If you haven't, please do subscribe. So for this tutorial, these are the materials that you're going to need. As you can see, I have my measuring tape here, and you will need your waist, bust, hips measurements, and I encourage you to have your measuring tape on so that you can measure as you go along. I have my darning needle to weave in ends as I go along and also towards the end of the project. You need your stitch markers. These are important for marking stitches, and a pair of scissors to cut hanging threads here and there. For my yarn, I'm using Winter King. This is a Kenyan brand, and this particular ball is 100% acrylic. This one is 50 grams in weight. Be sure to check the description box below to know how many balls of yarn I used. So this yarn is 4-ply, and as I said before, it's 100% acrylic. You can use anything else that you can get as long as you use the right hook. I'm using a 4.5 millimeter crochet hook for this project, and once you have all your materials, you can gather around and let's get started with the tutorial. So to begin, you're going to grab your measuring tape and get the measurement between your straps. When you put on like a bra or a strapless bra, a strapped top, measure the distance between those straps, and that is the measurement that we are going to start with, since we are starting to construct this dress from top to bottom. And once you have that distance, I'm going to be using 8 inches. You will get your yarn and your hook and make chains long enough to fit that measurement. This is the distance between straps, and that's the distance you will measure. So to do a chain, you will grab your yarn and make a slip knot, and this is how I make my slip knot. Once you have your slip knot, you are going to yarn over and pull through that the previous loop that you just made. Yarn over, pull through, and make as many chains as you can to fit that measurement that you just began with. So I'm going to chain this until I attain 8 inches long. So let's measure and see what we have. Okay, as you can see, I have a little more extra, so I will just go ahead and undo my stitches right there. So I'm left with about 8 inches like that. This is important. So I will put my measuring tape aside and continue with the chain that I just made. Now you will go back to since we are going to work with mesh stitches, you will go back into the 5th chain. So count 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yarn over and place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. yarn over and put your hook through the 5th chain like that, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So for this part, we just made our first stitch where we have a turning chain of 1, 2, 3, 4, and the first 3 act as our first double crochet, and the 4th one is the chain 1. We are also going to chain 1, skip 1 chain and go into the next with a double crochet. So this is the pattern. We'll be chaining 1, skipping 1, yarning over and going into the next chain with a double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, go into the next with a double crochet. So I'm going to do this until I get to the end of this row. Just chain 1, skip 1, go into the next with a double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, yarn over and go into the next with a double crochet. So now I'm coming towards the end of the row. I will skip this, go into the next with a double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1 and go into the next with a double crochet. We are done with row 1. You should be having something like this, and once you're there, you are going to be chaining a total of 3 chains. So 1, 2 and 3. Turn your work and then go on top of the previous double crochet, skipping the space with a double crochet. Chain 1, go into the next with a double crochet, on top of the next double crochet with a double crochet. Chain 1, skip the space and go on top of the next double crochet with a double crochet. Remember, we have not increased anything. We're just going on top of the previous double crochet with a double crochet and making sure that we have those chain 1s in between those double crochets. This is a mesh stitch. So I'm going to do this until I get to the end of the row, and then I'll show you what we're doing on this particular part. Now I'm coming towards the end of the row. I will chain 1, place my double crochet on top of this double crochet, chain 1, and now this very last chain that we did as we were beginning the row, you will skip 1 chain and go into the second from your double crochet. So skip 1, go to the second, on top of that, that is where you place your double crochet. So we are done, and you will notice that the number of double crochets on the first row are the exact number on the second row. And now from here onwards, we are going to be increasing as we try and achieve the waist measurement. So we'll start increasing, and we are going to be increasing on the very first stitch as we turn. So chain 1, 2, 3 as always, and then turn your work. And on this very first double crochet that we did here, so once you have your 3 chains in, you're going to turn, and on the very first double crochet we are going to do an increase, and this is done by inserting a double crochet right where the stem of this chain 3 is. So you will put your double crochet right there, and this is an increase, and then chain 1 and continue doing your row just as you normally would. So chain 1, put your double crochet on top of that double crochet, chain one, and continue doing those double crochets on top of each and every double crochet as you go along. So chain one, go into the next with a double crochet, chain one, skip the space and go into the next with a double crochet, chain one, go into the space with a double crochet. We'll do this until we get to the end. Now I'm approaching the very end, so I'll just place my double crochet over here, chain one, and then skip that chain and go on top of the second chain and do a double crochet like that. And as I said before, we are only increasing at the beginning of the row, so we are going to chain 1, 2, 3, turn and do that first double crochet on top of the very first double crochet like that to do an increase, and then chain one and continue doing the row as normally would. Just to recap, we are doing increases at the beginning of each and every row, just at the beginning only. So you will notice after every row you have an additional of 1 stitch. So let me continue working this off camera. Now I'm coming towards the end of the row, so I will place my double crochet there, chain one, and just as we've done before, we will skip one chain and go to the second one and do our double crochet on top of it like that. You see our work has started going, increasing. Then chain 3, turn your work on at that very point. That is where you place your double crochet, and then chain 1 and continue working as we have. So we are going to be increasing like this as you work down your dress, and you will do this until when you get to that part where you cover the entire bodice up to the part you hit your waist. So you will increase it, your dress will tend to go this way as you increase until you hit, when you measure this distance from this yoke, it should cover your bodice area, your bust area completely. And then we'll meet there and see how we are going to work the skirt part. So after increasing a couple of times, this is where you should be at this point. The base of this is where we need to achieve our waist measurements. Now, if you fold your dress like this, you will notice that this is the shape it takes. And there should be a gap at this point where we will make a chain to complete this part right here. So the chain that we will make, it's going to complete our waist measurement so that this part sits right on our waist. Now at this point I have made a total of 28 rows. Yours could be more or less depending on your size. While you're making this dress, just ensure that you're placing it on your body, against your body, so that you can know exactly the positioning of it, and it should fit perfectly from the top here all the way to the bottom. This should be at your waist. So now let's go ahead and do a chain long enough to complete this part. My waist is 28 inches. Yours is different depending on the measurement that you're using. I'm going to, let me measure this part and we see the length that I have achieved at this point. So as you can see, at the moment we are at 22 inches long and we want to get to 28. So the chain that I need to make is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inches long. Now to make a chain, as you know, we'll just yarn over and pull through and make sure whatever it is, the remaining space is going to be filled by this chain. So I'm chaining 6 inches long. Your figure should be different because you're working with your measurements. As you can see, I've made exactly 6 inches long, and we'll just come on this side and do a slip stitch right here. Once you make your slip stitch, you can chain 1 and actually measure this part to see to it that you have achieved the desired measurement. So mine is 14. If you multiply 14 by 2, you get exactly 28. So make sure this part you have the exact measure of your waist. Now, once you have your chain connected on both ends, you can choose to cut this part or slip stitch until you get to the middle part of your chain. I am going to do exactly that. I have a total of 23 chains, sorry. So these chains, I will allocate the middle one, which is the 12th. So I'm going to slip stitch until I get to the 12th chain. So we'll just be inserting our hook in the immediate chain, the next chain, and then you pull through it all to make a slip stitch. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and this is the 12th. So once you get there, because this is the mid chain, we're going to chain 1, 2, 3 and go into the next chain and do a double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, go into the next and make a double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, go into the next and make a double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, go into the next with a double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, go into the next with a double crochet. As you can see, we are making the exact mesh stitch that we have on the dress. So you will skip 1, go into the next with a double crochet like that. Chain 1, and at this point you are going to meet the rest of the stitches on the dress. So you will insert your hook in this first double crochet, make a double crochet, chain 1, go into the next with a double crochet, chain 1, go into the next with a double crochet like that. Chain 1, skip this, go into the next with a double crochet, and we are going to go round until we hit this part, make the mesh stitches and connect right here. So I will come back once I get to this part, and then we can complete here together. So I am coming towards the end of that row. I will place my double crochet on top of that double crochet, chain 1. There's still this stitch over here where we are joining the chain and the dress. So we will place a double crochet over there, chain 1, skip 1, go into the next with a double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, go into the next with a double crochet, chain 1, skip 1 and go into the next with a double crochet, and then chain 1, skip 1, go into the next with a double crochet like that, chain 1, skip 1, go into the next with a double crochet. We want to make sure that the stitches that are here are also the same number on this other side. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 2 3 4 5, and this is going to be the 6th. So we are going to slip stitch in this space over here. After chaining one, sorry, you have to chain one. So chain one and slip stitch to close the row. So this is what you should be having after you have completed that part. So this is the waist and this is the top part of your dress. Now we are going to continue. So you will chain 3 as we've always 1 2 and 3. Turn your work. But before we even continue, we need to get stitch markers so that we can mark the sides of this dress. Okay, so you will, this is the middle part and we need the sides. So just get the sides because that is where we will start increasing from. And this increase should go down until you get to your hip measurement. Remember, right now we are at the waist measurement. Now what to do is, I want to count this number of stitches to make sure that they are equal on both sides at the point where I have marked. So let's count that together. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14. So we want to be increasing on this stitch over here, the 14th stitch. Also I will count 14 on this side. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14. So I will place my stitch marker on the 14th stitch like that. So this we know exactly we have we are increasing on the same number of stitches. So I want to do the same, just double crochet on top of each and every double crochet with a chain 1 in the middle, the mesh stitches that we've been doing until I get to the part where we are increasing, the part that we have marked with our stitch marker. So let me continue off camera. Now I have come to the part where we marked, the stitch where we marked, and after chaining 1, I'm going to place my first double crochet on that stitch, chain 1, do another stitch, chain 1 and do another. So we've done a total of 3 stitches on top of this one that we marked before. Remove our stitch marker and mark the mid stitch. So we are going to mark this stitch so that we will know where we are increasing the next time. So this is what you should be having after making that increase, and do not forget to chain 1 in the middle of each and every stitch, even after it, and then just continue working 1 stitch on top of each and every stitch from the previous row. And we're going to do this until we get to the part where we marked on the other side. Okay. I have come towards the end, not the end, but the marked stitch. Let me just remove the stitch marker so that we can mark our 3 stitches. So I'm going to place the first stitch, chain 1, do the next stitch, chain 1, and do the third and the last. That is our increase right there. And then chain 1 and continue working 1 stitch on top of each and every stitch until I get to the end of the row. So this is what we should be having. Just remember, what you do on one side is exactly what you do on the other. So don't forget to mark the middle stitch like that. So I'll meet you once we get here. we're almost done with the row. So we're going to make our last stitch, chain 1, and then slip stitch in the space like that. You will chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and turn your work. Always make sure to turn your work. So this is what we have at this moment, and now we're going to continue doing the same. So since we were having an increase row, this particular row that we are making right now, it's not going to be an increase row, but we will increase on the next. So just do 1 double crochet on top of each and every double crochet from the previous row. Now, once you get to this part where we had increased before, just treat it as normal stitches where we are placing a double crochet on top of the previous double crochet. You can remove this stitch marker, work that double crochet over there, chain 1, go into the next and work a double crochet like that, and then don't forget to mark it, because on the next row we are going to do 3 double crochets on this very stitch. So this middle stitch is the one that will be getting the increase, and we're just marking it for consistency so that we don't lose track of what we're doing. So I'm going to continue working at double crochet on top of each and every double crochet, and remember what we do on this side, we also do it on the other side. I'll meet you once we get to this point. I'm at the increase point, and remember, as we said, whatever we do on one side is exactly what we do on the other. So we remove our stitch marker, work that mid stitch, chain 1, go into the next stitch and do a double crochet, and then don't forget to mark that mid stitch. Let me show you how to work this last part one more time. You will chain 1, go into this last stitch, do a double crochet, chain 1, and in this space, first space, that is where you're going to slip stitch. And we just want to ensure that this part is very straight, and then we will chain 3, 1, 2, 3, turn our work. Make sure to turn your work always, and go on top of the first stitch and do a double crochet, chain 1, and continue working until you get to the marked stitch and do your increase. I'm at the increase point. Remove your stitch marker as always. Work your 3 double crochets, 1, chain 1, 2, chain 1, and 3, chain 1. So this is what you should be having: an increase, no increase, an increase. So again, mark the mid stitch. We're going to continue until we get to the other side where we have an increase. Don't forget to chain 1 in the middle of those double crochets. Remember, what you do on one side is exactly what you do on the other. So you're going to chain 1, remove your stitch marker, and at this point, this is where we are going to do our increase. So chain 1, do the next double crochet, chain 1, and do the last. Chain 1, you have 3 like that, and then you're going to chain 1 as you continue until you get at the end of the row. So once you complete your row, chain 1 and slip stitch in that very first space. So at this point we are done with that row, and this is what you should be having. Let me just zoom out and show you, zoom in and show you where exactly we are. This is the upper part of the dress, and we are making the skirt part. Now work with your tape measure. Always go with your tape measure. I am increasing until I hit my hip size, which is 38. So I will increase until, if I give it a slight stretch, not a big stretch, the slightest of stretches, it should hit 19, so that it gets to my 38 inches hip. So let me continue off camera. Once I hit my hip measurement, I will come back and tell you how many rows I did, but this will differ depending on your hip measurement, because we're not the same. Always work with your tape measure. So just remember, we are increasing on intervals. After you increase the next row, you're not increasing, and then you increase on the next. Like here, the next row, I'm not going to increase. I hope that's clear so far. Now, so after working another increase, so I have 1, 2, 3 increases. If I give it a slight increase, it gives me 19 inches. So this, I'm very comfortable that it's going to fit me, because my hip measurement is 38. So according to your hip measurements, you might have more or less increases here, most likely more if your hip measurement is more than 38 inches. So do that, and once you hit your hip measurement, there's no more increasing. We're just going to do 1 double crochet in each and every double crochet from the previous row until we attain the length that we want our dress to have. I'm going to continue working downwards until I achieve the desired length just before we start doing the ruffles, and then I'll let you know how many rows I did in total. Now this is where I am after working a total of 24 rows on this part, and 24 rows are giving me 12 inches at the skirt area. So the next part, I'm very satisfied with this coverage. I know for me it's going to be fantastic, but if you want it longer, you can do more rows for the coverage that you desire. Now the next part that we're going to work is the ruffle part, and I have just slip stitched here to complete this row. So the next thing that we are going to do, we will chain 2, 1, 2, and then turn our work, and we'll be placing 2 stitches in the space and 2 stitches on top of the double crochet from the previous row. So I will yarn over and do 2 stitches here, 1 and 2, and 2, and then after that I will go in on top of this double crochet and do 2 double crochets. In the space we do 2 double crochets, 1, 2, and then on top of the double crochet we do 2 double crochets, 1, 2. So we will do this stitch all around until we get to this part. One, So I'm coming towards the end of the row. We'll place 2 double crochets in this space, place 2 double crochets on top of this double crochet, and then place 2 double crochets in this space, because there's a space here, a chain 1 space. And then once we are done, we are going to slip stitch on top of the chain 2 that we started with. We slip stitch right there, and we are done with that first row of ruffles. So the next row of ruffles, we are going to chain 2 to start the row, and then place the first double crochet right there, and then on top of the very first this double crochet, we place 1 double crochet, and then the next, on top of the next double crochet, we place 2 double crochets, 1, 2. In the next double crochet, we are going to place 1 double crochet. In the next one, we do 2. So the pattern is we are doing 1 double crochet followed by 2 double crochets on the next. Okay? So we've done, you see, 2 double crochets, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets. The next one will have 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets in the next, a double crochet in the next, we do 2 in the next. So we are going to continue with this pattern where we are placing 2 double crochets, the next one gets a double crochet, the next one gets 2 double crochets until we get to the end of the row. Now, just to recap, this one we did 2 double crochets in each and every stitch. On the row that we are on right now, we are doing 2 double crochets followed by a double crochet, and then 2 double crochets alternating like that. So you will work this until we meet on the next row, which will be the very last one. So now we are coming towards the end of that row. I just did my 1, so I need to do 2 here, 1 and 2, and then do my very last double crochet in that stitch, and then slip stitch on the chain 2 that we started with, like that. We have completed that, and we are going to chain 2 to start the third and the last row on that ruffle. So you will place your first double crochet in here, and then place a single double crochet, just a double crochet, 1 double crochet on top of each and every double crochet till we complete this row, and we'll be done with the ruffle part. So we did 2 on each, 1 and then 2 on each and every stitch, like 1 stitch alternating, and then now we are doing a stitch, just 1 stitch on top of each and every stitch to make it 3 rows. So I'm going to complete just 1 stitch on top of each double crochet from the previous row until I get to this point, and I'll be done with the ruffle part. So after working the entire row, I am coming towards the end of it, and I will place my double crochet right there, and then on top of that chain 2, we slip stitch, chain 1, and we are done with that part. So we'll cut this yarn. So far for the ruffles, this is what we have. This is what you should be having. So after completing the ruffles, this is where we are. This is the back of the dress, and the next part we need to work is to clean off this side, the edge of the dress, and do the straps. This is how the front looks like. This is the front of the dress. Okay. Clean stitches and the ruffle. So we will begin from all the way from here. We go up, we work this part, the top part, and then come back down as we complete with this part. Now on the edge, on the sides, we will do a scalloped edge so that it gives it a beautiful finish. And with that, I think we'll be done, and then we'll do the straps, and that's it. So thank you so much for being here so far. If you have not, please do subscribe, as this helps the channel really grow, and I'll be sure to bring you more tutorials. Thank you so much for being here. So let's do this part together. So we're going to place our yarn at this corner right here. That is where we will insert our hook and pull this yarn after making a slip knot like that. And then you're going to chain one and chain one in this space. Okay, and then go at this corner. You will place 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then at the next corner, skip this space. At the next corner, you will place a single crochet, and then go to skip this space, go to the corner and do 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Right? Skip the space, go to the corner right here and do a single crochet like that, and then you will skip the space, go to the corner and do 4 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then skip the space, go to the corner with a single crochet like that. You see how it started to form, and then skip the space, go into the corner and do 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip this, go into the corner with a single crochet, skip the space, go into the next corner with 4 double crochets. 3, 4. So we're going to do this until we get to this end. Okay, as you can see, we're coming towards the top corner. So since I have a single crochet here, I'm gonna do the 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and the 4th one there. And then at the top corner, we will place our single crochet up there like that, and then do another single crochet because it's a corner and we are trying to get to this other side. And then in the space, we are going to do a single crochet like that. And then we've now started working on this part. We will place single crochets, just single crochets on top of every double crochet. We place a single crochet, and in the space we do a single crochet. You can notice that I'm working on top of this yarn, so I will just place a single crochet on top of that double crochet, and then a single crochet in the space, so every stitch is getting a single crochet. And this is our top corner. So we continue working that. can now drop this yarn because I will weave it in later. So I'm gonna do this until I get to this part, okay? So I'm coming towards the end, the left top, and now I will place a single crochet on top of that double crochet, and then a single crochet in the space, and we need to do 2 single crochets in the second chain over here to mark that that is our top corner, like that, just as we did on this other side, okay? And then we will turn our work and do, remember we have this scallop part here, you see the 4 double crochets, so that is where we begin to do our 4 double crochets on this side. So we will place 4 double crochets here, 1, 2, 3, and the 4th one, and then do a single crochet on this corner, and then go to the next right here and do 4 double crochets. Skip the space and go here to do a single crochet, like that. So I want to go downwards just as we did on the other side while we are coming up. That is what we do on this other side. So we place our 4 double crochets at this point, 3 and 4, and then do a single crochet here. So this is what you should be having. We're just trying to mirror what we did on this side to be on this side also. So I'll meet you when we get to this part. So I've been working all round and down, and now I'm at this point where there's the intersection towards the lower part, the waist, at the waist, sir. So we'll do a single crochet right here, and then now you can turn your work to this point, and we're going to do a single crochet in the space and a single crochet on top of the double crochet, a single crochet in the space, a single crochet in the space on top of the double crochet, like that, until we get to the end of the row, to that point where we began working the scalloped part. So once you get to this part, we are going to slip stitch on the single crochet that we started from, chain 1, and then cut that yarn, because at this point we are done, and we are going to weave in all the ends later on, okay? Now this is what you should be having. The only remaining part is doing the straps. So let me go get my yarn and we'll do the straps together. So for the straps, I'm going to double the strands for it to be strong enough, and then I will make a slip knot like that and attach my yarn, my slip knot over here, okay? So make sure it's tight, and then we're going to make a chain long enough to tie at the back, okay? So once you're done with this part here, you will also attach another one on this side, so that we have 2 points of origin for the straps. So once you are done with the straps, this is what you should be having, and I'm glad to tell you that we are done with this tutorial. Everything is in we have done our beautiful finish on the sides. The ruffles are in, everything looks so beautiful. This is the dress as of now. So of course you have different size. Maybe this part is longer for you and this part is a bit big, because you know we have different bodies and sizes. So thank you so much for watching. Let me go ahead and put this dress on mannequin and show you how it fits. And if you have made this dress, please be sure to tag me on my Instagram page, that is Marion Crochets, or Facebook or TikTok. Let me see what you have done so far, and thank you so much for watching.